And you see that a lots of hatred for the manifestations comes from that envious position. Those who denied Christ called him like, you were supposed to be our king and you don't have shoes to wear. And then when he had gathered so many people who were willing to give their lives for him, that didn't bode very well for the leadership. Abraham's story is that they put him in the fire to burn him because he was teaching monotheism. And the Quran says God ordered the fire and said, turn into rose petals for my friend. So over the centuries, we have literally translated that, and Baha'u'llah is saying it was the fire of envy and rebellion.
Later, the beauty of the countenance of the friend of God.
Who's friend of God? Now
Ibrahim.
Abraham. Now he's using their title rather than the name. Previous form. Friend of
appeared God. From behind the veil, and another standard of divine guidance was hoisted. He invited the people of the earth to the light of righteousness.
To the light of righteousness.
The more passionately he exhorted them, the fiercer
envy and waywardness. Envy and waywardness
of the people, except those who wholly detached themselves from all save God and
ascended
on
wings of certainty
to the station which God hath exalted beyond the comprehension of men. It is well known what a host of enemies besieged him, until at last the fire of
and rebellion were kindled.
And after the episode of the fire came to pass, he, the lamp of God amongst men, was as recorded in all books and chronicles, expelled from his city.
So we all know the story of Abraham, of course, is repeated in all the Semitic faiths. He was calling for, he is called the father of monotheism. Of course, all the Semitic 3, 4, 5 Semitic lines, religions start with him. He is the forefather of our side of things. The more passionately exhorted them, the fiercer waxed the envy and waywardness. And you see that a loss of hatred for the manifestations comes from that envious position, right? It's like those who denied Christ called him like, you were supposed to be our king and you don't have shoes to wear. And then when he had gathered so many people who were willing to give their lives for him, that didn't bode very well for the leadership. Ascended on the wings of certainty. The angels have wings, right? We actually do not believe in a separate creation that is angels that were believed in as in the previous dispensation. If you read the writings in the context here and elsewhere, it will come up again too. Both Satan, we don't believe in a external Satan either, that is a physical body somewhere else that is trying to beguile you. Both those satanic and angelic virtues belong to human beings at different state of their existence to how far or close they are to God. And when we are indifferent, that's when we are man, by the way. So in Arabic, he has a man and then he creates out of that. You are an Adam and then he created you into insan by teaching you the Quran and the word of God. So he uplifts us from that. And what is the description of angels? Was that the description of angels is the one who do not have their own will, but they only live on the will of God. So those would be the ones who have absolutely completely submitted to the word of God. Simply, they are the ones who get the rank of angels. Until at the last, the fires of envy and rebellion were kindled, right? Abraham's story is that they put him in the fire to burn him because he was teaching monotheism and it was a polytheistic society. And so God saved him. The Quran says God ordered the fire and said, turn into rose petals for my friend. And it did, right? So over the centuries, we have literally translated that, and Baha'u'llah is saying it was the fire of envy and rebellion, right? Because he was the son of the top priest, top minister, by the way, Abraham was in his own land. And the year that he was born, the soothsayers had told the king that somebody was coming who would topple his throne. And similar as it happened at Moses' year, similar as had happened in Jesus' year, and same thing happened to the Krishna's time too, by the way. We don't mostly study that side of thing. The order went out to kill all the baby boys that year, so they wouldn't have this danger. That understanding of the story answered my question I used to have from the very early age, why God teaches us who's coming in a very hidden language. Why doesn't he just tell me, say, Jake or Jacob or Joe is coming. He would be at this age, at this street, his address would be this. I thought if God gives me that, I'll go knock at the door at that day and say, hey, I believe. Well, that's not who we are at large, right? And so over and over again, whenever they thought that a manifestation was about to come, this is what had happened. Rather than waiting for him and thanking God that it was coming in their time and their place, this is what had happened. So at Abraham's time, the same thing happened. All the baby boys were put to death, and he didn't know that it was his own suggestion, by the way. Abraham's father's suggestion was to kill all the babies that year, born all the baby boys, and he did not know that his wife was pregnant. Remember, during those times, we didn't have the ultrasound and stuff. It took them a while. So then this news was hidden, and Abraham was born. So, and the soothsayers were right, by the way, right? So if the king believed in him, his kingdom would have survived and lived, and we would have been like, those would have been our heroes, all of them. But they didn't. They went against him. So the story is a little bit longer. Maybe if you want to hang out, our time is up, though. I don't take your extra times. Next time, remind me to start with it, and I'll tell you the story of Abraham from the Asian side of things for what had happened. However, at this point, I do want to say that last thing, that the Baha'is do not believe that miracles cannot happen. Our writings are very clear about that. When we are trying to describe, and Baha'u'llah God is describing the miracles in more allegorical fashion to understand them, nowhere God is saying that he cannot do miracles or the miracles do not happen. What we're saying is that looking at them physically does not really do anything for you. Not even at that time, maybe something a little bit that time that it shakes you up a little bit, but that's about it, the one who was watching it. The one who didn't see it, it does nothing for him. So we're not here for those kind of looking for physical miracles. We're looking at when Christ said that nobody can kill him, it's his spirit that cannot be killed, so to speak, right? But I'll tell you the rest of there's a very interesting side of Abraham's story on the other side of the scriptures. All right, any comments, concerns? We are done for today.
Yes, one quick comment.
Yeah.
When we get to Muhammad, there is a video about 538, and it talks about the world's condition before Muhammad. And it was dire because of a massive volcano exploded and caused massive amounts of famine throughout the whole world, and the sky was darkened. Yep. And it was quite interesting.
At the coming and going of the prophets, by the way. It's a common phenomenon. And we will study that in this book too. Thank you. Remind us at that time if anybody wants to watch it. There is a last.
Okay. 538 AD.
There is a kind of wrong commentary on those things too. Actually, I don't know which one you are referring to, but modern scholars, the one who acknowledge his success or what he brought, kind of lay it at the hands of, oh, the world was suffering so much, so he was able to use it. That's a very wrong take on a word of God coming down to you. So be careful for how we dissect things too. All right, next one is full of keys. We'll start on paragraph 12. First class, always a little bit slow. So unless you have anything else for me, I'll see you next week. I hope it worked for you.
Thank you very much. It was wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, dear. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Oh, by the way, Baha'u'llah said this dispensation will encompass the globe in no time, in long. Today, we are from east and west coast of United States to east and west coast of Australia, just in this class. Just a little
you.
something
wow.
to be happy about.
Yes, yes. Thank you.